up, my people? As we all know, this is the Super Soul Warrior, Warrior D1. And basically, I'm coming at you with a particular subject, which is known as what is education? As I told you before, I didn't really mention it completely, that this is pretty much a journal of my life and things that I'm thinking of and my projects and different things that swim into the mind of this madman we call the Soul Warrior, Warrior D1, or Super Soul Warrior, Warrior D1. The topic that I have for tonight is, what is education? I've been swimming around in my head trying to go ahead and figure out what that means for real, and why it's very important. In general, I write things in my journal and everything like that, and the conclusion I came to of what education is, and this is the stuff that I wrote. Education in this country is not treated as a lifelong journey in life that equip you with tools to better your life. It is a measuring stick to judge you and tell you whether you're smart or dumb. And that was a part of a big thing that I wrote. But that is a big deal in this country, education. You have everyone and a mama telling you about education. You have politicians saying that you need education. A lot of analysis or analysts will go ahead and say that the reason that poor neighborhoods or urban neighborhoods don't do well in the areas that they're in is because of the lack of education. But what troubles me about that is sometimes you can have all the education in the world, and the thing is, it can lead to nothing. For an example, you have people who are homeless at this point in time with PhDs. You have people all over this country who are homeless that have degrees and everything. But yet and still, education is super important. It trips me out in the world of academia, as I like to go ahead and call it. It becomes basically a measuring stick or a penis measuring contest. Man and woman will go ahead and shout out how many degrees they have and everything, and it's very entertaining to them. But I'm not picking on academia because we have it all over the place. I mean, we have measuring sticks in the military because of different rank and different schools you've gone to. We have them in the gym, how much you can lift, how big his muscles or her muscles are. We have them everywhere in our sector or in our world of expertise. There's a measuring stick somewhere in there. But education in a certain way has bothered me for a very long time because it's supposed to be the foundation of my life. Within this country, that's the way they portray it. I'm going to be 100% honest with you folks today because for a very long time I despised education. And what I mean by that is I despised it in a way of because I couldn't regurgitate facts and figures the way my teacher wanted me to do it. I got in trouble a lot for it. I got in trouble a lot for it to the point of I would get spanked by a yardstick if I got the wrong answer. I would get yelled at to high heavens by my mom, telling me that I need to get this education in order to be able to get a good job and be able to sit on my ASS and not work so hard the way her and my father did. Um, but at the same time, I gotta say that I really didn't have a real motivation for getting education, and I really believe it's because it was not. I didn't see the value in it. Let me help you understand. Reading and writing, learning how to count is very valuable because that's everyday life. But at the same time, trigonometry, algebra, learning different modes of, I guess, history or whatever else is not going to benefit me at this point in time when I got to pay my bills. And I'm not saying that it is not important for you to know things that help build this country into the way it is, because it's very important, because you can kind of understand the things that are going on today and the reasons behind them. But at the same time, to go ahead and do a pass or fail on somebody and basically say they're going to end up being nothing, or they're a late bloomer, or they have problems learning, is a trip. It's a problem. And you base the rest of their lives on that. I personally had a lot of different problems going on within my childhood when it came to education. One thing is I had to worry about the bullies that I was dealing with, and telling me all these different type of things, or having a fight or whatever, whether I was going to school or coming back home. And my mom couldn't understand why my grades weren't the way she would like to have been. But at the same time, some of it was my fault too, because I didn't do the work in order to make that stuff happen, make those grades come about the way I want, the way they should. But at the same time, I had no interest in most of the subjects that were presented to me, which is so funny because nowadays you have entrepreneurs who say that they did horrible in school and most of them are multimillionaires. I think the downside to me was I started to not believe in myself anymore. And I just went along with what everybody else told me. And then you had these kids who would bash me and say that I was lame, or whatever else, and very multiple colorful things said to me. But at the same time, it was because they were hurting on the inside too. Some of these people, what they called education, they didn't meet the mark on that either, but yet and still, they were willing to go ahead and bash me and say that I was dumb, slow, any number of things to go ahead and tum, you know, take down my self-esteem or whatever else. The only thing that I wish I could have did to help that kid, meaning me, during that time period, is basically be a mentor to him, and direct him in a path that would have been very beneficial to him, and help him understand that, you know, what you wear is not going to matter 20 years from now. These people around you wasn't going to matter 20 years from then either. And, you know, all the different things that they say and do, whatever else, wasn't going to matter. That the basic reason why kids were asking for food off of your plate when they had a very full plate themselves was because when they went home that night, they weren't guaranteed to get dinner. I wish I could tell that kid that if he continued on with the calisthenics and, you know, the weights that were given to him on Christmas Day, and just more so read a lot of different books and sought out to travel later on, that his life would have been far more beneficial than what would have happened later. To this day, I despise education, meaning to the extent of things that does not interest me, because I'm talking about subjects that is pulling me away from the gifts that I have and the things that I should be going toward in order to go ahead and be the best me that I possibly can be. See, we have schools and and teachers who go in there for paychecks. We have a structure of schools that basically tells you that if you do not catch the subjects the way they go ahead and teach it to you, that you're going to be nothing, you're going to be nobody. And the sad part was I believed it for a very long time. I'm 45 years old right now, and I realize right now that I can fix this. I can fix this. I can turn this around. And it's sad that that these teachers and people around you go on and give you these ideas in your head because of the things that they failed in, and they put that madness on you in believing that if you don't follow within the trail and good or be encouraged to get over the humps that they got over, that you will be a better person, not knowing that half of these people didn't even get over their hang-ups within their lives, and they're still struggling with it. People, this is a scary time period that we're in when it comes to education, because people use these degrees as badges of honor, kind of like in the military. Just because you have a degree, they figure that you are a better soldier, which in turn really does not equate to being a better soldier because you have a piece of paper telling you that you're valuable. I would think your inner voice or that inner person within you will tell you that you're valuable and that the goals and dreams that God put in your heart will help you to move forward and show you that you're important. Not a piece of paper. I still have little handicaps when it comes to education. When I was growing up, I used to I was afraid to ask questions because when I would get or answer questions, because when I would get those answers wrong, I would either get laughed at or chastised by the teacher for getting it wrong. Which in turn, it made me very fearful to even read in front of people. I would go ahead in front of people when it was time for me to read. I would sound like, I'd probably be in 7th grade, I would sound like a 2nd grader trying to read. But it wasn't so much that I didn't know the words as well. Even if I didn't know the words, it didn't matter. But it was just more so my heart would start pounding and I would get anxiety. And I would feel like the smallest person in the room after a while because I couldn't convey what I understood. I don't know. This system has to be different. I know it was built because it was built to make us into a bunch of robots for the Industrial Revolution at one point in time. And what's so killer about that is that really don't even matter at this point. Right now, it seems like education is almost powerless. It doesn't empower you. It makes you less powerful. Looks like my time is about to run out. I think I'm going to do a part 2 about this in about a few seconds. This is the Soul Warrior Dwan, and I'm out.